The salad bar at Greenleaf Cafe was buzzing like a beehive at lunchtime, and right in the middle of it, standing like the lead actress in a soap opera, was Goldie Karen. Tall, toned, in her perfectly fitted jeans and chic blouse. She tossed croutons onto her salad with the flair of someone auditioning for a cooking show. Her bright blonde waves bounced as she glanced toward the front counter, and froze. "Wait a second," she whispered to herself, eyes narrowing dramatically. "Where is Greg?" Greg, the cafe manager, was always there at 12:15 sharp, greeting customers with that over-enthusiastic, "Hey, welcome to Greenleaf" voice. But today, nowhere in sight. Goldie's deep blue eyes darted around the cafe like a detective, scanning a crime scene. No Greg behind the counter. No Greg refilling the coffee. No Greg complimenting someone's scarf for no reason. Suspicious. Very suspicious. She clutched her salad tongs like a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced to absolutely no one in particular, "we have a code-missing manager. This is not a drill." Two college students looked up from their avocado toast, mildly concerned. Karen gave them a reassuring nod. The kind a captain gives passengers before a ship hits an iceberg. She began her investigation. First suspect, Linda the cashier. Karen strutted over, salad bowl in hand like it was Exhibit A. "Linda," she began, leaning in with the kind of squint usually reserved for courtroom dramas. "When was the last time you saw Greg?" Linda blinked. Like 20 minutes ago. He went to the back." Karen gasped, loudly, dramatically, Oscar-worthy. "To the back, alone?" Linda nodded, chewing gum without a care in the world. Karen whipped around, hair flying like she was in a shampoo commercial. She eyed the staff-only door. "Something's going on back there," she muttered. "And I, Goldie Karen, will find out if it's the world's shortest coffee break, or a full-blown conspiracy." With that, she marched toward the mysterious door, but just as her hand touched the handle, a sudden crash echoed from behind it. Then silence. Karen's eyes widened, her jaw dropped. "Oh, this is juicy." Karen froze at the door like a cat spotting a laser pointer. The mysterious crash still echoed in her mind. She took a slow, exaggerated step back, hands on hips, scanning the cafe like she was assembling her crime board. Rule number 1 of amateur investigations: if you don't have evidence, get suspects. Her first target was a man in a business suit, hunched over a quinoa bowl like it had personally offended him. Karen glided over, resting her hand on his table. "Question," she said, tilting her head just enough to make her blonde waves sway. "Did you happen to see a certain Greg around here? Average height, over-friendly, smells faintly of cinnamon air freshener?" The man blinked. No." Karen narrowed her deep blue eyes. Convenient." She scribbled, "Denies everything," in an imaginary notebook with her finger. Next up, the smoothie girl. She was blending something neon green when Karen approached like a news anchor breaking a scandal. "Smoothie girl," Karen began, lowering her voice. "When Greg went into the back room, did he seem normal?" The girl hesitated. "I guess. He was carrying a box." Karen gasped, as if she just uncovered state secrets. "A box? Of what?" The girl shrugged. "I don't know. Supplies?" Karen straightened up. "Or stolen cafe gold?" The girl rolled her eyes and turned back to the blender. Karen returned to the salad bar, her mind racing. She tapped her spoon against the counter like a detective piecing together a suspect's alibi. So, Greg went into the back room with a box, and now he's missing. And there's a mysterious crash. "This," she announced to no one in particular, "is either the plot of a bad Netflix documentary or a high-stakes sandwich heist." She caught Linda the cashier glancing her way. "Linda," Karen called, "you're coming with me. I need backup." Linda stared at her. "I'm literally working." Karen's voice dropped to a stage whisper. "And I'm literally solving a mystery. Which one of us sounds more interesting right now?" Before Linda could answer, the staff-only door creaked open. Every head in the cafe turned. A shadow emerged. Karen leaned forward, ready for the grand reveal. And out stepped a delivery guy, holding nothing but a receipt. Karen gasped in disappointment. "False alarm!" "But I'm watching you, clipboard guy." Still, Greg was nowhere in sight. Karen's jaw tightened. "Fine," she said. "If they won't tell me where Greg is, I'll find him myself." And with a sudden flourish, she pushed through the staff door, vanishing into the forbidden back room. The moment Goldie Karen's stylish sneakers crossed the threshold, into the back room, she felt like she'd stepped into another world. Gone was the bright avocado toast ambiance of the cafe. In here the lighting was dim. The air smelled faintly of cardboard, and somewhere, a fridge hummed ominously. Karen paused, one hand on her hip, the other clutching her salad like a prop in a courtroom drama. "So this is where the magic happens," she murmured, scanning the shelves stacked high with coffee beans. Paper cups and mysterious unlabeled boxes. She crouched, peeking under a shelf. Nothing but a dust bunny the size of a hamster. Suspicious. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from deeper inside. Karen jumped, but in a theatrical way, like she was auditioning for a suspense film. "Greg!" she called, her voice echoing slightly. "If you're trapped under a box of organic kale, blink twice." No answer. She tiptoed forward, her blonde waves bouncing with each step, until she reached a stack of crates marked "Do Not Open." She squinted at the label, tilting her head like she was reading ancient hieroglyphics. "Do not open?" That's basically an invitation. She tugged one open. Inside, 20 jars of artisanal pickles. Karen raised an eyebrow. "Pickles, Greg? This is your big secret?" But then, another sound. This one was closer. A faint rustling like someone moving. Karen whipped around, deep blue eyes wide. A tall metal storage rack loomed in the corner, partially blocking a small side door. The rustling was coming from there. She crept toward it, each step exaggerated for dramatic effect. Her salad bowl now held like a shield. "All right, mystery intruder. Reveal yourself before I dramatically narrate your every move." Karen reached the door and pushed it open slowly, only to find a narrow hallway leading to yet another door. From behind it came muffled voices. She froze, pressing her ear to the door. She could barely make out words. "Won't tell anyone. We have to now." Karen's jaw dropped. "Oh my gosh," she whispered. "This is either a black market kale deal, or Greg has joined an underground barista cult." Her heart pounded. She adjusted her blouse, straightened her hair. Because if she was about to bust open a cafe conspiracy, she was going to look amazing doing it. She reached for the handle, and just as she turned it, "Hey, you can't be back here!" Karen whipped around to find a young barista glaring at her, arms crossed. "Oh," Karen said with faux innocence, "I can't be here? Funny. Neither can a missing manager." Karen locked eyes with the young barista like they were in a standoff at high noon. The fluorescent light flickered overhead, adding just the right amount of drama to the scene. "Step aside, latte boy," she said, squaring her shoulders. "There's a mystery to solve, and I am this close to my big reveal monologue." The barista crossed his arms tighter. "Customers aren't allowed back here." Karen placed her salad bowl on a shelf with exaggerated care, like she was setting down a priceless artifact. "And yet, I am here, which means this is now a Karen-sanctioned investigation." She tried to slip past him, but he sidestepped in perfect block formation. Karen tilted her head, smirking. "You've been trained. I respect that." From behind the mystery door, those muffled voices came again, louder this time. Karen's ears perked up like a cat hearing the treat bag shake. "Tell you what," she said, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "I'll walk away right now, if you just accidentally let that door open." The barista looked confused. "Why would I—" But Karen didn't wait for permission. She suddenly pointed behind him and gasped, "Is that a spilled latte?" The poor guy turned instinctively, and Karen darted forward, slipping through the door like she was breaking into a top-secret bunker. Inside, she found herself in a cramped room with a table, a single flickering light bulb, and two people sitting across from each other. One of them was Greg. Karen burst in, planting her hands on her hips. "Well, well, well. Look who's been missing in action." Greg blinked, mid-sentence. "Karen, how did you—" Karen cut him off, pacing dramatically. "Save it. I know everything. The mysterious box, the noises, the whispers." She leaned in, narrowing her eyes. "You're running a speakeasy back here, aren't you?" Greg just stared. "What? No, I'm—" "Interviewing a new assistant manager." Karen froze. "Oh, beat." Then she immediately recovered. "A likely story. That's exactly what I'd say if I were running an underground espresso ring." The second person at the table, a nervous-looking woman in a floral dress, awkwardly waved. "Hi?" Karen waved back casually. "Don't mind me. Continue your little interview. I'll just take notes for my tell-all memoir." Greg sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Karen, please go finish your lunch." Karen smirked. "Oh, I'll finish it. Right after I finish this investigation." She turned toward the corner of the room, where, she now noticed, was another door, and from behind that one came the faint sound of humming. Karen's eyes lit up. "Oh, this is getting good." Karen froze mid-step, her deep blue eyes narrowing at the sound. A faint, tuneful humming. Not suspicious in itself, unless you were Goldie Karen, who could make humming sound like an international scandal. She raised a finger dramatically. "Greg, explain the humming." Greg rubbed his temples. "Karen, it's probably just—" "Don't you dare say nothing," she interrupted, pacing like a courtroom attorney about to break the case wide open. "This is the third door." "Greg, everyone knows nothing good happens behind the third door." The nervous woman in the floral dress glanced at Greg. "Should I leave?" Karen pointed at her without missing a beat. "Yes. And when you tell people about this, Say you witnessed history. Before Greg could object, Karen marched over to the third door, her blonde waves bouncing with the determination of someone who fully believes they are the hero of this story. She placed her hand on the handle, then spun around for maximum drama. "If I don't come back in 5 minutes," she announced, "tell my salad. I loved it." She flung the door open. The room inside was dimly lit, filled with bags of coffee beans stacked like sandbags. In the center, sitting on an upturned milk crate, was a young man wearing headphones, singing along to a song only he could hear. Karen stepped inside, eyes wide. So this is what's been going on. A secret backroom concert. The guy pulled off his headphones, startled. Hi, I'm just restocking and, practicing for my band." Karen crossed her arms. "Practicing in a cafe storage room. Very underground, very mysterious." Greg appeared in the doorway, exasperated. "Karen, he's the new part-time stock guy. I told him he could listen to music back here while working." Karen raised one eyebrow. "Or, that's your cover story." She turned to the stock guy. "You've been humming loud enough to cover other noises, like clandestine espresso meetings, or late-night smoothie experiments, or..." She leaned closer. "The real reason Greg disappeared today." Greg threw up his hands. "Karen, I went to the supply room to talk to him about scheduling. That's it. No mystery. No conspiracy." Karen stared at him, then at the stock guy, then back at Greg. "So you're telling me, all this time, the missing manager was just in the back, doing his job?" Greg nodded. Karen let out the most dramatic sigh imaginable, picked up a jar of artisanal pickles from the shelf, and said, "Well, that's disappointing." But just as she turned to leave, a loud bang echoed from the front of the cafe. The bang reverberated through the walls, making even Greg flinch. Karen, however, froze like a hero in the climax of an action movie. "Stay here," she ordered, holding up her hand like she was leading a SWAT team. "This is my moment." She stormed back through the maze of doors and storage racks, emerging into the cafe with her hair slightly tousled, which, frankly, only made her look more like she'd been through a heroic ordeal. The customers were all staring toward the front counter. And there, standing amid a pile of spilled cups, was Linda the cashier, holding an empty tip jar. Karen gasped. "Linda, what have you done?" Linda looked up, cheeks flushed. "I didn't do anything! It just fell." Karen stepped closer, scanning the scene like Sherlock Holmes. If he also happened to be auditioning for a reality TV show. She tapped the counter, looked at the floor, then at Linda. Cup avalanche. No wind, jar perfectly upright. Classic distraction technique. Linda threw her arms up. "Distraction for what?" Karen spun dramatically toward the nearest customer, a teenage boy holding a suspiciously overstuffed muffin. "Distraction. For him." The boy blinked, confused. "What?" Karen jabbed a finger toward the muffin. "That pastry is way too big to be legally purchased here. Either you smuggled in your own baked goods, or you have uncovered the cafe's underground mega muffin operation." Greg arrived just in time to pinch the bridge of his nose again. "Karen, please. He bought that here this morning. It's just a normal muffin." Karen turned, hands on hips. "Fine, if you say so. But I still think this cafe is hiding something." Greg sighed. "Karen, you came in for lunch, caused 3 false alarms, and accused half my staff of running black market food rings. I think the only mystery here is why you're still welcome." Karen smirked, picking up her salad bowl from the counter. "Because, Greg, every great cafe needs a little drama, and I am the drama." With that, she sauntered to her table, sat down, and stabbed a cherry tomato with the kind of confidence only a self-declared detective could have. "Case closed, for now."